Okay, so today we're talking about antisocial personality disorder, which is basically sociopathy, psychopathy, sociopaths, psychopaths. It has a very misleading name, like antisocial. It sounds like an introvert, or actually sounds like avoidant personality disorder. It doesn't mean like, oh, I'm antisocial, I want to be alone all the time. It means going against social laws, social cues, like robbing that bank or hitting that woman or touching that child is against social norms. So antisocial would be, someone who does that. Now I'm not saying none of that's the criteria. These are all just dumbass examples. I'm coming off the top of my head, but that's what antisocial means. Okay, so but instead of saying antisocial, I'm just gonna say sociopath or psychopath, which technically are they're not actual you can't be diagnosed a psychopath. You can't be diagnosed a sociopath. And even in psychology, those two are separate identities. But when you talk about antisocial personality disorder, most people are basically talking about at that point you're just like splitting hairs. So I'm just gonna say sociopathy, sociopath, psychopath, or antisocial, whatever. So if I say certain things, if I say psychopath, sociopath, I'm talking about this disorder. Um, okay. Now, I'm going to break this down again one more time. I did it in my last video, but I need to do this so people understand. Personality disorders are diagnosed in patterns. So, any one of these criteria, you might have done it once, maybe even twice in your lifetime, but, unless you're doing it once a day, once a week, once a month, a couple times a month, then it's not habitual. It's not pathological. It's not reoccurring. So that's how personality disorders are diagnosed, is they're reoccurring. So don't hear me say one of these and, oh my God, I did that, and like, oh, I must be, I did 3, 4, 5 of these things. I must be don't do that. Okay, first symptom criteria. Failure to perform the social norms with lawful behaviors as indicated by repeatedly performing acts that are grounds for arrest. That's kind of what I said earlier, basically. Deceitfulness indicated by repeated lying, uses of aliases, or conning others for profit or pleasure. Impulsivity or failure to plan ahead. Irritability and aggressiveness is indicated by repeated physical fights or assaults. Reckless disregard for safety or self or others. Reckless disregard for safety of self or others. So like, I don't give a fuck about myself, and I don't give a fuck about anyone else in this car. I'm doing 90 on the freeway, and I don't really care about who's in the car with me. That type of thing. Consistent irresponsibility as indicated by repeated failure to sustain consistent work behavior or honor financial obligations. Basically being irresponsible all the time, not being able to hold down a job, not honoring any type of previous promise, like, oh, certain things like that. Lack of remorse, and when I say my take of it, that doesn't make it law. That just means on my take of it. So I give the actual similar criteria, and then I give what I think it means, or what I know for it to mean, or whatever the case may be. So this is the biggest one. Now you could have all of these. Like I've definitely failed to perform to social norms with lawful behaviors. Trust me. I've been impulsive and failed to plan ahead. I've been aggressive towards people and had physical fights or assaults repeatedly. I've had reckless disregard for myself, my safety, or safety of myself. Um, and you only need 3 of these 7 to be diagnosed, but this is the 7th. This is the biggest one. You can have all these, but if you don't have this one, to me personally, and to other psychiatrists, other mental health practitioners, then you still fit the criteria for the diagnosis, but it's just like, you're not a real psychopath, at least like for me. And this is it. A lack of remorse as indicated by being indifferent to or rationalizing having hurt, mistreated, or stolen from another. If you watch my other 2 videos, basically a lack of empathy. Now, I've fought other people repeatedly. I fought people repeatedly, and sometimes I felt bad about it, depending how bad the fight got. Sometimes I didn't. Um, uh, you know, it's just about a lack of remorse. So, do I feel bad for whatever I did? Do I feel bad for conning that person out of $1,000? No. Do I? So, oh my God, please, 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 someone don't call me again. I made it like 10 minutes to the other video and someone called me, and now someone's messaging me. Now, I already said this, but that's 7 diagnosis. You can rewind it if you want. You only need 3 to fit the diagnosis, and it needs to be pathological. It needs to be, in a pattern. It needs to be happening consistently in your life. Okay, so this time, see, look, I'm taking notes this time. I took notes. I took notes this time with you guys. All right, so I'm trying to speed through this, and I'm not gonna go too long. Like the borderline video was long, and I could probably make a part 2 on that because there's a lot to talk about. Males, 3.6% of the population have this disorder, and they're males. 1% are females. So you put it all together, about 5% of the population has antisocial personality disorder or is a sociopath/psychopath. 18 to 80% of them are in prison. Now, what that comes down to for me is the remorse part. I think that's 80% of people in prison are not sociopaths. I have plenty of friends that have been to prison, came out. They are not sociopaths. They do have remorse. They do have guilt. They do have empathy. So I feel like that number is a little exaggerated, but that's the number you will hear if you do your own research. I feel like it's a lot less, but it is what it is. I haven't been to prison, so. Now, what creates a psychopath or sociopath or someone with antisocial personality disorder? Usually raised in poverty, not usually, but lots of the times. They were also faced with neglect. They witnessed violence, trauma, abuse. It's same with borderline. The seed and the soil, it's genetic, so it's inheritable. The seed is there, you just need the environment, the soil. Okay. The stepping stones to it are in psychology are basically at a young age you could be diagnosed with ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. I wasn't diagnosed with it, but I definitely had it. Then it goes to conduct disorder, which is like the next step up. And in order to, lots of people skip this stage. Not everyone who has ASPD or sociopathy or whatever, they not all of them are diagnosed with conduct disorder because they just happen to slip through the cracks. But usually you are diagnosed with conduct disorder, which is the baby version of ASPD, the teenager. But the thing is, though, is I think about 25% of people that are diagnosed with conduct disorder actually develop ASPD. The other 75% don't. And another funny thing is ADHD. Not everyone who has ADHD is a psychopath, but almost every single person who has sociopathy, psychopathy, antisocial personality disorder has ADHD. Which is funny. When I research a lot of this stuff with antisocial personality disorder, I relate to a lot of things because they think very, at least for me personally, they think very logical, rational. They think very, if I had to choose between killing 200 people to save 400 people, then the 200 people gotta go. That type of thing. All right, now we're already 10 minutes in, so let me try to speed this up. Now, as a child that's growing up that may get this personality disorder, they're going to be usually a victim of physical harm. The father is usually uninterested in the child. Both parents are usually uninterested in the child's education. They usually bully as a way to get it out, to get whatever they got get it out. There's inconsistent discipline. So, they went in the cookie jar once, they got disciplined for it. They went in the cookie jar again, they didn't, and got caught for it, but didn't get disciplined. Um, Surprisingly enough, an overprotective mother. And they're also, did I say this before? But they're also witness violence regularly. Um, this is more of a psychological type of thing, but someone who is antisocial personality disorder, usually the first 18 months of their life, they were failed to be greeted, like they were just kind of ignored. They were kind of just treated like background the first 18 months of their life. So they didn't develop that social, back and forth, those social skills. There's also usually a maternal withdrawal, some type of cold distance from the mother. And there's also silent interaction without talking. So there's usually like, get that over there, like get that over there and bring it to me. That, like, things like that. Or maybe like a cold stare. And the child's got the cold stare so many times, the child already knows what it means. And if there's chronological aggression at a young age, then you are more than 27% more likely to develop ASPD. So that's kind of like the makings of it. Now, if you are with somebody who has ASPD, I'm sure lots of you, this is what you're waiting for. You want to know, hey, does my boyfriend have it? Does my girlfriend have it? Well, you may feel that they are emotionally absent. Like they're just not emotionally there for you. You feel like you have to bribe them with money or intimacy. Like, I'll do this. Like, you take out the garbage if I do this. I'll give you a head if you do this. It's always transactional. It's never just like they just do things out of the kindness of their heart. Another thing you'll notice is that they don't react to people that are in pain. Like if someone hurt themselves really bad, they're just kind of standing there with a blank face. Let's say you went through some type of surgery or you've been hurt really bad. You're almost, instead of you being catered to, you're almost automatically expected to cater to them like hours later. Like you just broke your leg and they want to have sex, or they want you to cook them something, or whatever the case may be. They're not even thinking of how you may be hurting in this time. Unstable emotions, usually of anger. People with ASPD, they don't have the same spectrum of emotions that neurotypical people do. They don't experience happiness, joy, appreciation. They don't experience certain emotions that we do. But the emotions they do experience, usually negative ones, on, I guess, more than the neurotic side, if I'm correct, then it's unstable. The madness, the sadness, it's unstable. They'll get angry fast, basically. This is a big one. Now, they have superficial charm. They're very charming people. Oh, you look really beautiful today, Ma. I would really like to take you out sometime. Yo, those shoes with that shirt, it looks nice. Yo, you look really good today. Like, and obviously that's just some dude trying to hit on a girl, but the charm, once you get to know the person, you could tell the charm is superficial. Like, it's proven to be fake. It's like it's not real. It was just something that they used to gain to gain you, basically. Like I said, not everything I say is facts. I need you guys to do your own research and prove me wrong. But like, I've been doing this a long time, so pathological lying to gain something materialistic. So they're pathological liars. It's like I said, people with ASPD have a lack of sense of self, so they're pathological liars. They learned, instead of reading other people, like they saw other kids experience happiness and joy, and they sat there and they didn't understand. They were like, what? Someone with this disorder from a young age, they could tell they're different. They could tell they're different. So they, instead of just being regular, truthful, being themselves, they actually just, they learn to communicate by manipulating and lying and being deceitful. So like that is their way of communicating, is everything that nobody really wants, unfortunately. But that's the way they communicate, is being manipulative, lying, deceitful. They look at life as a game. I'm going a little too far, but I gotta make this video quick. They look at life as a game because of they have a chronic feeling of emptiness. But unlike narcissists and borderlines, they're okay with it. They don't like the boredom, but they're okay with it. They've made it themselves. They are that emptiness. So they pathologically lie to get whatever they want, because there's nothing concrete there for them. They're also usually fearless and aggressive, like very fearless and aggressive. Like they don't experience fear the way someone does. I'm not saying, oh, they're super gangster, they're super tough. I mean, like, they just, you flash a gun in their face, they don't flinch. They're that. If you're with somebody like this, they'll have sometimes when you have an argument, they'll have a dominant predatory stare. It's like their genuine demeanor seems like they're ready to take it to that next level over something petty, stupid, minute. I think I said this before, but they also have a disregard for their own safety, and they don't think defensively. So they don't think that they say you and your husband are having an argument, there's a knife on the counter. They don't think, oh, that person might grab that knife and use it against me. They can only think of, oh, how I'm going to grab that knife and use it against them. It's hard to comprehend, but yeah. From a young age all the way up until they're a full-grown old man, they're fascinated with fire for some reason. Lots of arsonists are usually psychopaths. They're fascinated with fire. I don't know why. So you catch your boyfriend having a little too much fun with the fire, the lighter, whatever, be a little cautious. They also have constant issues with authority. So you will see that they are always, even with you ask them to do the dishes. They have a problem with it because they view you as an authority because you're telling them what to do. But on a deeper level, the police, it's always issues with authority. Yeah, so they won't do anything for you because they feel like you're trying to control them. They feel like you're trying to act like an authority figure. And by the way, my shirt is very appropriate for this video, by the way. I just wanted to say. They have a disregard for consequences. The only thing that will stop them from doing something is if it will make them lose their pleasure. Their pleasure being whatever they enjoy. So I don't want to go to jail because I don't want to lose having sex with my wife or having sex with this girl or doing these drugs. But usually the impulsivity will take control anyway, and they'll do whatever. So it's the impulsive aspect that makes it. There's also a difference between sociopaths and psychopaths, but that's going way too deep. I don't have enough time in this video to do all that. All right, I'm almost done. So they're constantly sensation seeking. Like they're the boredom. They hate the boredom. They're always bored, constantly, nonstop. So they're always looking for sensation seeking. Like always, constantly. Like the roughest sex, the hardest drugs, the largest crimes, the biggest gamble, the whatever. Like they're always looking for sensation seeking. This isn't, and all these last things I've experienced aren't some of the criteria. These are what you as a loved one, knowing someone who has ASPD, this is what they might reflect. Drives recklessly, a lot, all the time, always drives recklessly. Lives a parasitic lifestyle. So like they're constantly living at your house, but never pay any bills. They might say eventually they're looking for a job, or they have a job lined up, or it's finally coming. But basically, they're just living with you and not doing shit for you whatsoever. They won't even do it. It's just a parasitic lifestyle. There's no, best way I could put it. They'll never pay you back any money, and they're very exploitive. Very exploitive. The best manipulators, the best exploitativeness that you could find is in someone who has this disorder. They usually have no long-term goals or ambitions, and like this one kind of hits home for me because I don't really know what I want to be in life or what I want to do or what goals or ambitions I have, but so I guess I can relate. But yeah, none of that. They may talk a big game, but they do nothing to become that next level. Spends money irresponsibly. I know that's something we all do, but it's like they get it and it's gone. They get it and it's gone. They get it and it's gone. It's always on like dumb shit, just dumb shit that you don't even need or whatever. You don't take my word as law, but. And big one, threatens to kill or cause serious harm to you. Can't look past that one. Someone who's threatening to kill you, someone who's threatening to put bodily harm to you, you can't look past that. You also might notice they have no insight into themselves. They might do a really, depending who you're dealing with, they might do a really good job of appearing that they do, but they have no insight to themselves and their effect on that. They have an idea on their effect on others, but they just don't care. They don't have insight. You could tell how they treat other people. When you're first meeting someone like this, you could see how they treat other people, and that's a great indicator on how they're going to treat you. And the big one, a failure to take responsibility. That's also a very narcissistic trait. Which brings me to one of my last things is all sociopaths or all antisocial personality disorders have narcissistic personality disorder, but not all narcissistic personality disorders have antisocial personality disorder. So everyone who has sociopathy is a narcissist. Not everyone who's a narcissist is a sociopath, basically. I think that's the best way I can wrap it up for now. I don't want to make this too long. Two things I would like to say one thing I'd like to say is most sociopaths end up in prison or jail. Most psychopaths, and I'll do another video to break down the difference between them, but like I said, it's almost like splitting hairs. Lots of sociopaths, psychopaths, since they have a lack of fear, they end up being surgeons. Like imagine having to cut open a human body. To cut open a human body and remove their heart and put a heart into it, you have to have a certain lack of empathy for that person. You get it? Like you're trying to save their life, so there is empathy there, but it's like, my hand would be shaking trying to, to be cold and calculating. You just remove the heart, put another one in. Surgeons, CEOs, because, people with ASPD, a big thing is they're goal-oriented. They're searching for power nonstop, so they want to be at the top. And lots of them do make it to the top. So it's not just people think that people with ASPD or sociopaths, psychopaths are just serial killers and all this other stuff. They're literally people working at your job. They're literally people you went to school with. They're literally in your family. They're literally one of your friends. Like, try to go through this list of everything I said and everything. I tried to make this under 20 minutes, and reevaluate your social circle. Reevaluate yourself. Reevaluate the person you're dating. Reevaluate your parents. I could do multiple videos on this. I guess I kind of got through everything, but I guess I could do a part 2 to this too. But my next one's going to be narcissism. Stay tuned for that. That one's definitely going to be a 3-part series. And like I said, all cluster B personality disorders have a hint of narcissism in them. They all have a thing of narcissism in them, so it's going to be a big one. So if you liked my other 2, go watch those. If you like this one, go watch those. And please like, comment, share. I need all the love and support. I need to spread awareness, all that. Love y'all.